An object is moving in a straight line from a fixed point. The object is at the origin initially. Okay, so that means that straight away I can start noting some things down, mainly that this part means that the displacement is 0, t is equal to 0. The acceleration a of the object is given by this formula, and the velocity is given by this. So we're going to determine the initial acceleration. So to determine the initial acceleration, all I'm going to do is substitute t as 0, which will give me pi times 0. Now, if I draw my little unit circle over here to the side, cos 0, remember cos is your x values. So at 0, we're looking at this number line. That's -1, that's 0, that's 1. So that's how I know that this here is going to be 1. So when our acceleration is at 0, it's equal to pi. Okay, now we're going to determine the initial velocity. So that means we want to substitute t in as 0 at some point as well. So in order to do that, to find our velocity function, we need to integrate our acceleration function with respect to t. So let's do that now. So I'm going to integrate pi times cos pi t with respect to t. I'm going to move this pi to the front, so I just have to multiply my answer by it after, which will make it a little bit easier for us. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is integrate this section. So when I integrate cos, it will go up to sine. And when I take the derivative of this bracket, it will become 1 over pi. Okay, and I'll have pi at the front multiplying this function. So this is the integral of this. The only thing I'm missing is plus our constant on the end there. So that will cancel out with that one, and I'm just left with sine pi t, which means that over here I've got our velocity function is equal to sine pi t plus a constant. Now I can use this statement here to determine what what c is. So v1 is equal to sine pi 1 plus the constant. Now we're looking at our y values. So when sine is at pi, that's here, but on our y-axis, that's when we're at 0. So that's why sine of pi is equal to 0. So this is 0 plus our constant, and when our velocity is at 1, we have 0.5 meters per second. So that's 0.5, so therefore c is equal to 0.5. Now I can restate my function. Vt is equal to sine pi t plus 0.5, and I'm going to let t equals 0 to work out our initial velocity. Okay, so now we're looking at when we've got sine of 0. So that's here. The x-coordinate for that one is 1. Our y-coordinate is 0. So this is equal to 0. So that means our initial velocity is equal to 0.5 meters per second. Okay, so let's scroll down to the next part. Determine the displacement after 1 second. So all I'm going to do is state my velocity function again. So Vt was equal to sine pi t plus 0.5. And Vt is really like saying dx over dt, which means that if I integrate this, I'll be left with x equals. So we're going to integrate sine pi t plus 0.5 dt. Now we have to integrate both sections to this. So we're going to start by integrating this section. Now sine in this case will go to minus cos. So it will become minus cos pi t divided by, the derivative of this will be pi, so divided by pi, plus 0.5 t plus a constant. So that is what our x is equal to. Now, at the beginning, we were given that when x was equal to 0, t was equal to 0. So now we can solve for our constant. So x of 0 is equal to minus cos pi times 0 divided by pi plus 0.5 times 0 plus the constant. Now, cos of 0 is 1. So this is like minus 1 over pi. This will turn out to be 0. We know that when it's initially at 0, it's equal to 0, so it's equal to 0 there, plus c. So that means our constant is equal to 1 over pi. If I take this to the other side, it'll become positive. So I'm going to just write this over here so I can state it nicely. So therefore, our model is equal to minus cos pi t all over pi plus 0.5 t plus 1 over pi. Okay, and now we want to substitute in when after 1 second. So now we've got minus cos pi of 1 plus 0.5, 1 plus 1 over pi. Just ignore the announcements. Just, living my best life here at school. Cos pi, so that's over here, so that's going to be negative 1. So this is like negative times negative 1 over pi plus 0.5 plus 1 over pi. This is going to become a positive, so I'll have 1 over pi plus, I'll move this to the front, 1 over pi plus 0.5. So x of 1 is equal to 2 over pi plus 0.5. Okay, and it doesn't tell me to do anything fancy with the answer, so I'm going to leave that like that because this is a tech-free exam. If I did want to get it into one term instead of 2, all I'd have to do is times the top and the bottom of this one by pi. Now, I haven't checked the answer, so I'm not sure if this is what they did. Plus 0.5 pi over pi, so that would be equal to 2 plus 0.5 pi all over pi like that. So that could be the other answer that they gave us.